أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. One time one of the companions came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Awsini, advise me, counsel me, give me some advice. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, La taqzab, do not become angry. And the man repeated his request again. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam repeated, do not become angry. And he repeated this multiple times. Imam Ahmad says about this hadith that he said, when I reflected upon this hadith and the advice of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, He said, Al-ghadabu yajma'u sharra kullahu. He said, anger encompasses many different types of evil in it. When we become angry, what do? We say things to harm the other person. We may curse at them. We may curse at their families, their parents, their children. We lie. We may backbite about somebody. And with our hands we may hit somebody. We may throw something. All of these bad deeds, all of these sins are attached to our anger. Because when somebody becomes angry, they stop thinking rationally about what they're going to do or what they're going to say. And this is why we are reminded that we need to control our anger. Anger is an emotion. Sometimes we get angry. But we need to be able to control it. And Rasulullah ﷺ taught us how to control it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in the Quran. In Surah Ali Imran he mentions, Sari'u ila maghfiratin min rabbikum. He said, hasten and run towards the forgiveness of your Lord. Wa jannatin, and towards the heavens. And what is the heavens like? Arduha samawati wal ard. That its width is like the heavens and the earth. Uiddat lil muttaqin, it has been prepared for those who are pious, those who are God-fearing, those who are mindful of Allah. And in the next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what He means by al-muttaqin, those who are mindful of Allah. He says, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. Those who give in charity, who donate in prosperity and in adversity. Those who give sadaqah when they have the money and they don't have the money. وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ. And those who control their anger. وَعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. And those who pardon and forgive other people. وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who are excellent in their doing of good deeds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this as one of the characteristics of the people of taqwa, of the people who do good, that we suppress our anger. Whether we're right, whether we're wrong, we suppress our anger. And it's a lot of times harder when we are right. You know, we're in an argument, I know I'm right, I know what I'm saying is correct, and the other person is saying a lie. But even then, to control the anger. And there are some hadiths about the rewards and about the fadail, about the benefits of controlling our anger. Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, whoever suppresses his anger while he is able to act upon it, means he is strong enough to act upon his anger, and he's in a position where he can act upon his anger, Allah will call him in front of all of the creation and allow him to choose whichever one of the hurul ain, of the maidens of Jannah, that he wants to take for controlling our anger. Rasulullah ﷺ said to a person, one person asked him, what will keep me away, what will prevent or protect me from the anger of Allah? He said, do not become angry yourself. If we are kind and merciful to people and forgiving, then inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be kind and merciful to us. But if we are oppressive and angry and meet people with bad manners, then that mercy may not be for us. And we should keep this in mind, that especially when a lot of times we know we're putting ourselves in a situation where we're going to get angry. Anger isn't always sudden. If we reflect on our lives, anger isn't always sudden. We know that when I talk to a certain person, he's going to make me angry. Or when I'm going to this situation, it's going to make me angry. So the best thing is to avoid it. Or at least prepare yourself that yes, if I have to make this discussion, I have to, talk about this topic, with this person, and I'm going to, it's going to be controversial, at least remember these things. Remember these benefits so that you don't go out of control, so you don't become angry. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there has never been a gulp, a gulp of water, that is swallowed that is more excellent before Allah Azza wa Jal than the gulp of rage and anger that a person restrains because he's seeking the pleasure of Allah, he's seeking the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That the person is angry and he suppresses his anger only for the sake of Allah. So there's nothing better than that. There's no gulp that you have to gulp our pride. We've been saying in some languages that we drink our anger, right? There's nothing better than that. If we suppress our anger for the sake of Allah alone. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us that the strongest man, the one that we call the warrior or the strong man, is not the one who is physically can wrestle and suppress another person. The strongest man is the person who can control their anger when they get angry, at the time of anger. And these are all the benefits that we should keep in mind. But not only did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us about the benefits of controlling our anger, he gave us a whole program of how to control our anger. And when people have to take anger management courses at times when they have certain abusive pasts. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us the steps also to anger management in Islam. He said one of the things he said, for the person who becomes angry, he should remain silent. He should remain silent. Try to keep quiet. Because when you're angry, you're going to say something that you're going to regret later on. Second thing he said, he reminded us that the anger is from shaitan. He saw two people arguing one time, and one of them was becoming so angry you could see the redness in his eyes and in his face. And he said to the companions, I know something, I know a jumla, I know a sentence that if he says it, his anger will go away. And he says, if he says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, that I seek refuge from shaitan the cursed. Because his anger is from shaitan. And he takes advantage of us in that moment of weakness and makes us say things, pushes us to say things and do things that we'll regret later on, that we wouldn't do in our normal situation. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also told us that if somebody is angry and you're standing, then to sit down. Change your position from a position of dominance to a position of humility. And if you're sitting down and you're still angry, then lie down. Again, to cool yourself down, to take the power away from you so that you don't do something that you're going to regret later on. He also mentioned that shaitan is made of fire. Shaitan is made of fire. Shaitan is the one who makes us angry. So to perform wudu at a time of anger, to cool us down, to give us a few moments, to go wash up. And believe me, if you try this, all of these things work. These are not just recommendations that are out there. Try this in your daily life and see how it works. You make wudu with sincerity and cool yourself down and come back and you're rational, inshallah ta'ala. And many of the scholars have written books and talked about anger in detail, because this is a problem that affects many of us, and this is a problem that breaks families. This is a problem that causes discord in our communities. We find that many of the times when two brothers, let's say, are not talking for many, many years, what happens? Somebody was angry, he said something, and now years have gone by and they don't talk anymore. All because they said one thing and they didn't even mean that same thing when they were angry, but they said it because of their anger. And this is why we have to be conscious of this and not become angry. The problems between husbands and wives that end up in divorce and end up breaking families. Why? Because somebody became angry. Somebody said something, and then the other person also became angry. And now both of them are saying and doing things they really didn't want to be saying or doing. And even sometimes, in a fit of anger, we may say something against Allah and His Messenger. Sometimes we've seen this, where somebody who is so angry, they said something against Allah and His Messenger, which may even be harmful for them on a day of judgment, may even take them out of the fold of Islam if it's depending on what they said. So this anger is a very dangerous thing. We should not be ruling our homes, even if it's sometimes, what we have in our past, that we're ruling our homes and trying to get people to respect us out of fear. This is not right. Our children should respect us, our families should respect us because of the goodness in us, not out of fear, not out of our anger and our rage. This is weakness, this is not strength, according to the Quran and Sunnah. One of the early scholars used to say, he said, nothing caused the scholars at the end of their lives to weep more out of regret than an outburst of anger that would destroy 50 or 60 years of their good deeds. Nothing would cause them at the end of their lives to cry out of regret more than a fit of anger that they had. And they said something or did something that may have destroyed 50, 60, 70 years of their good deeds. And perhaps one fit of anger may put you in a situation from which you can never recover. Maybe your family becomes destroyed, your business becomes destroyed, your akhirah becomes destroyed out of one fit of anger. And this is how dangerous this is. Many of the scholars used to say, when they're asked, what is good manners in Islam? What is good manners in Islam? They would say, controlling your anger. It's one of the biggest parts of having good manners, controlling your anger. It's very easy to show good manners to someone who's showing good manners to me. When we're both happy, it's easy to show good manners. But when somebody is being disrespectful, or when somebody is doing something wrong, and it's making me angry, for me to show good manners at that point, this is where the reward is. This is where the reward is from Allah. And our intention should only be that through controlling this anger, I seek the pleasure of Allah. And when we bring these thoughts into our minds, then inshallah it strengthens us, and inshallah we're able to control our anger. This is just a reminder for myself and all of my brothers and sisters that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those who don't succumb to our angers and say or do things that we'll regret later on. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. A few announcements. Membership renewals are due. Please go meet them in the office for your renewal forms. ESL classes, English, for those who like to learn English, will be available at ICVA starting January 22nd from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Again, you can go to the office and get the update on that, or the registration forms. Please donate to upgrade the speaker system. Right now, the speakers outside in the women's area are not working properly, so people are having problems in reading, following the salat and following the Jummah. So please donate to that so we can have the speaker system fixed. Painting and poetry event is at Al Madina on January 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. And there will be a snow tubing event on February 2nd at 12 p.m. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. There was a few narrations that I just also wanted to read before we conclude, that Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali radiallahu anhu used to say. He said, a moment of patience when in a moment of anger. A moment of patience in a moment of anger prevents 1,000 moments of regret. A moment of patience during a moment of anger prevents 1,000 moments of regret. And he used to say, anger begins with madness, begins with rage, and ends with regret. Umar radiallahu anhu used to say, when your spouse is angry, you should be calm. Because anger is like fire. If one is the fire, the other one should be the water. These are some reminders that our Sahaba mentioned, that we should also remember these short reminders in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who do not become angry. Amen. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. صلوات بالوتراس يرحمكم الله. Please make your lines straight, stand close together. Don't leave any gaps in the lines ahead of you. If someone near the doors and the hallways could say Allahu Akbar after me, so the people who cannot hear the speakers will be able to follow the salat properly. Allahu Akbar. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء نحوا سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية؟ وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع. وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة. أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت. فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر. إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله.